Thomas here with Much Props, going to give you another how-to video. Today I am celebrating something. Now, you may not have noticed this as the past 4 months have slid by at the beginning of this year. At January, I weighed 285 pounds, the fattest I've ever been in my entire life. And I know as I get older, I need to start prioritizing my health a little bit more. So I decided to make a change. And part of that change was diet and exercise. So over the past 4 months, I've lost 60 pounds and I am continuing to drop weight and pant sizes. And I thought I would celebrate it with a build, something to inspire me as I work out. Part of my workout routine is lifting one of these. This is a kettlebell, it's 40 pounds. And I thought it would be fun to customize a Jose Madera prop and turn it into inspiration that I can look at as I work out. And this is very, very heavy. So today we are going to build a Servo skull and turn it into a kettlebell. Let's get to building. 285 pounds. That's the heaviest I've ever been in my life, and that number hits different. When I remember running a 5-minute mile, having a 34-inch vertical leap, and being one of the top male athletes in East Texas, I feel like I'm out of control. That version of me isn't gone, but it's not who I am right now, and that gap, that forced a decision. January 1st, I downloaded an app on my phone for workouts. No big speech, no perfect plan, just a line drawn in the sand, 20 minutes every night, no matter how long the day was, no matter how tired I felt. Before my head hit that pillow, the work would get done. Because discipline doesn't wait for motivation. Teacher by day, creator by night, and somewhere in between, I have to choose myself. At first, it was quiet, repetitive. Honestly, it was pretty boring. But that's the truth about change. It feels small until it isn't. The weight started dropping 5-10 pounds here and there. By the end of the month, I'd hit 25. But more importantly, my habits started to change. I started eating better. I walked 5 to 10 miles every day. I broke a lifelong habit of chewing my nails. I chose to rest my eyes an hour before sleep instead of looking at a screen on my phone. Not because it was easy, but because it mattered. So I pushed further. More reps, more time, more weight, sit-ups, push-ups, kettlebells. 20 minutes turned into an hour after 2 months. Because every time it got easier, I refused to stay the same, and that's what this build represents. Not just creativity, but commitment. What started as a Servo skull becomes something heavier, something earned. My friend Jose Madera, aka PR Props, designed this piece, a relic from a brutal, unforgiven universe known as Warhammer 40k. And honestly, that feels right, because real change isn't soft or comfortable, it demands something from you. I purchased this skull from Jose on his website, www.pr-props.com. I'll put links to it down in the description below. Jose makes amazing stuff and you should definitely go check out his work. I've made tons of mods to some of his builds and am always getting inspired when I look at his amazing talent spreading across my shelves above my edit area. We start with the skull itself. Raw, detailed, full of character. All the parts laid out in front of me, just potential at this point. I could just paint it and call it a day because it's already a masterpiece. Kind of like day one. There's no transformation yet, just a decision and a starting place. Then we build the structure using PVC pipes and elbow joints to form the handle for the kettlebell. It's not elegant at first, it's practical. Just like the first workouts that I had, it's building to something else. I heat the ends and flatten them out, forcing the rigid material to adapt, because that's what growth looks like. Pressure, heat, adjustments. You don't stay the same shape if you actually want to change. Try not to overheat the PVC and burn it like I did, because you don't want to breathe in those nasty fumes. Once the handle is formed, I secured it directly into the resin skull with screws. No shortcuts, no temporary fixes, this is permanent, because real progress doesn't come from half efforts, it comes from commitment, and I am full sending it when putting this handle to the kettlebell. While I'm not going to use this as an actual workout equipment, I'm assuming that I'll pick it up from time to time, and I want that handle to be sturdy and not fall apart. By drilling in multiple screws on each side, I'm preventing it from rotating on me later. I could only find 2-inch screws in my toolbox outside, so while they are a bit too long, I'm just using what I got. Then I make it personal. The letter I on the forehead I know has some importance in the Warhammer 40k universe, but it doesn't mean anything to me, and that's what this build is about. LX is 60 Roman numerals. That represents the amount of weight that I have lost from January 1st to this day. Not imagined or hoped for, but earned through sweat. That number isn't decoration, it's proof that consistency compounds, that small decisions repeated daily can completely reshape your life, or in my case, my body. But it means more than a milestone on a scale. It represents every moment I chose effort over comfort, every night I showed up when I didn't feel like it, and every excuse I decided not to listen to. It's a reminder that change doesn't come from one big decision, it comes from hundreds of small ones that no one sees. And every time I look at it, I don't just see what I've lost, I see what I've built. Discipline, momentum, a version of myself that didn't exist at the start of this year, and that's what's keeping me going, because if I can do that once, I can do it again. Next, I use freeform air epoxy to blend the handle into the skull, smoothing the transitions and turning separate parts into a cohesive whole, also hiding the ugliness of those screws and it bulging out. Because at some point, this stops being individual pieces, just like habits, just like identity. You're not just trying anymore, you become the person who does the work. That's what the step really represents, the moment where things stop feeling separate, work, discipline, health, mindset, and start becoming one continuous system. You don't have to work out you and real life you anymore. It all starts to merge into the same identity, shaped by repetition and choice. And just like the epoxy, changing takes time to set, in this case 24 hours before you want to mess with it because this stuff is sticky. It doesn't happen instantly and it doesn't look perfect when it happens, but once it cures, it holds. You can shape it if you need to fix some of the inconsistencies. And that's the point. You're not just building something temporary, you're building something that sticks. From there, I start adding greeblies, the little small mechanical detail bits that give it kind of that layered sci-fi complexity. This is where it starts to feel alive, because it's the small things that matter, the extra reps, the better choices, the decisions nobody sees. It's easy to overlook these details, to think that they're just decorations, but they're not. They're the texture of everything I've been building in my own life. The quiet consistencies, the moments where no one is watching and nothing feels significant in the moment, but everything is being shaped anyway. And just like in training, it's never one big move that changes you, it's the accumulation of small ones. Each piece I place here mirrors a choice I made to keep going when it would have been easier to stop. Next, I start pulling in more details, old chalk holders broken down and repurposed into the handle, small overlooked objects that normally wouldn't mean anything by their own. But that's the point. Taking something ordinary and giving it a new purpose, building complexity out of a piece that was never meant for this. These additions start to change the feel of the build. The handle stops being just a piece of PVC and starts feeling intentional, layered, almost engineered. Every piece adds weight visually, like history being built into the object itself. Nothing here is wasted. Everything has a second life. Then I transition those connections, reinforcing everything with EVA foam so that it all ties together cleanly. I add a proper grip and more details at the top where the hand will sit, making it feel like something that was designed to be held, to be used, to be worked with. Because even in a prop like this, the connection points matter. It's where effort meets intention. I covered all this random plastic and resin in 2 layers of Rust-Oleum hammered spray paint. After that, I go in with acrylic paint pens and a brush, picking out details and adding depth to every edge and surface. This is where the build really starts to reveal itself, where flat shapes become something with history, contrast, and weight. All those little details that Jose spent probably days putting in, I want to highlight. Every line, every shadow, every worn edge is intentional, pulling out the complexity that was already there, just waiting to be seen. What looks simple from a distance is never simple up close. It's layered, it's built, it's the result of patience and several hours of hand painting this thing, coming back to the same piece again and again, refusing to rush the outcome. Just like the work I've been doing on myself, the transformation isn't loud, it's accumulated. And that's what this stage reminds me of most. The progress doesn't always announce itself while it's happening, but if you keep going, if you keep adding those little details day after day, eventually it all comes into focus and you realize it was changing the entire time. You start to see abs that you've never seen, muscles popping that were never there, and all of your clothes start fitting in all the right spots. Or not, and you have to go buy new ones. Then I bring it to life with lighting. I carefully thread LED lights through tight spaces in the skull, using a guide wire to pull them through where my hand is obviously too big to fit in the opening at the bottom. It slowly works. Frustrating work, the kind of step that tests patience more than skill, but it's necessary because the effect only works if you commit to doing it the right way. There's something about this stage that feels a lot like the process I've been in myself. You don't always get clean access to places you're trying to improve. Sometimes you have to work through tight spaces, awkward angles, and moments where nothing wants to cooperate, but you keep going anyways, because eventually those small points of light start to show through, and what once was hidden or dull starts to feel alive, like there's something moving underneath the surface, something worth the effort it took to get there. And going from being able to do just 5 push-ups to 50 drastically boosts your self-esteem. I also run EL wire around the skull, adding a glowing energy that makes the piece feel alive. The light wraps around the form like a current, tracing its shape and pulling everything together onto something that feels almost animated. It's not illumination, it's presence, because this isn't just an object anymore, it's a symbol. Every layer, every modification, every decision that led here is embedded in. The structure, the weight, the glow, it all reflects the process behind it. What started as raw parts and scattered ideas has become something unified through effort. And in a way, that's what I've been building in myself too. Not something perfect, not something finished, but something that carries the story of the work it took to get here and keeps reminding me that I'm still in motion. finally, I cap the bottom off with some layered pieces of EVA foam to secure the electronics and hold everything inside. It's the final structural piece, but it represents something bigger than the completion, because its consistency is what keeps everything from falling apart. Not just in the build like this, but in life. In training, in the way you show up when nobody is watching, this isn't a kettlebell I can lift, but it represents every one that I have. Every late night when I still showed up. Every tired rep when my body was begging me to stop. Every moment I wanted to quit and didn't. Those moments don't feel dramatic when you're in them, but they stack. They build weight, they build strength, they build identity, and I'm not chasing who I used to be. That version of me had his time. I'm building something new, stronger, disciplined, more intentional. Someone who doesn't rely on motivation, but on repetition. Someone who understands the progress isn't loud, but it's relentless when you commit to it. And every time I look at this, I'm reminded that change isn't something you wait for. It's something you build one rep, one choice, one day at a time, and I'm not done yet. I hope you enjoyed this build. I hope you're motivated and start making some changes that are going to benefit your life in the long run, because you're worth it. I appreciate you, I see you, I value you, and thank you for your time watching this goofy little video. And we are finished. Here is the end result. Overall, I think it turned out pretty cool. It was already awesome with Jose's stuff on it. I just painted it and added a handle. This is going to sit with my other kettlebells in my workout area and just be a reminder to keep pushing, keep striving, and keep making yourself better, because ultimately that's the goal. Maybe you will try and make one of these yourselves and impress your friends with your ability to see somebody make something awesome and want to put it on display to make yourself feel awesome also. For sure. Maybe you'll get some. Yay! And inevitably, they're going to ask you, how'd you make that? You can give them one of these. Tell them, much props. Time to go do a little workout. Peace out. If you enjoy what I do here on YouTube and you want to see more builds like this one, please consider joining these awesome people listed here with me over on my Patreon to build a bigger, better, more creative community together.